Yes, there's me checking out a piece of loot. Very sexy braces. Now, this of course would be Stormstout Brewery, and annotations are going to appear if you're just interested in the boss fights. A special one is going to appear as I asked the Warlock to show us his new pets. He doesn't actually have the demo one, but he's got all the others. Now, I'm going to sit here and go through this. This video is 28 minutes long. That includes all of the trash and the bosses. I'm going to explain the tactics for the bosses and try to give you some oversight of them. Of course, this is all from the tank POV. And I was quite intrigued to hear people on stream earlier telling me that I was the only tank streaming. That seemed quite rare. And now that I've mentioned this, everyone that's already in beta is going to be, oh, I must go stream as a tank. Yes. Well, DK tanking in Mists is actually rather strong. The Unholy Blight change is rather amazing. That combined with Death and Decay and also Blood Boil does make for some rather interesting things. You see me lowering the volume a little bit there, as the sound effects were kinda loud. So this would be us clearing through to the first boss. The bar in the middle of the screen at the bottom I'll explain in a second, but these are the Hosen. Now these are of course the monkey boy things that Garrosh actually ends up arming with guns. Garrosh 2012. And these are in the Pandaren starting area as well. There's a fantastic little debuff that you can get in the Pandaren starting area where they'll jump on your head, and it's rather irritating because you can't attack them. But these mobs aren't too much of a pain in the ass to actually deal with. From a tank point of view, they're a little annoying because they do that little knockback thing you see me keep taking there. Keep trying to move out of it, but unfortunately I'm not quick enough. So we merrily kill these, get these down. The instances currently in beta are a little undertweaked or overtweaked. Their balance isn't just right, and there are still some bugs like bosses not dropping loot, of course, but beta is beta, and I'm going to probably say that at least once in every video. Now, what is this bar you see filling up? There you go, you see me hovering over it there. Hosen disrupted. Now, you have to disturb 40, and by disturb it means kill. And once you've killed 40 of them, then the first boss will spawn. Now we leave the sleeping guys because you don't really need to deal with them. Just run up and, of course, monkey knife fight. How amazing is that? There is actually a monkey knife fight taking place in this instance. It's brilliant. There, of course, is the Beholder pet from the Warlock, which keeps getting in the way during the entire video. Why? Because it is the size of a goddamn truck. Now, this trash isn't too much to worry about. If you have a demo lock, by the way, he can solo this instance. Demo locks are currently broken in beta and are crazy. I cannot out-tank one, you cannot out-DPS one. They are doing, I believe it was roughly 1,000 times what they're meant to be doing, or 1,000% of what they're meant to be doing. It's insane. They are just crazy. They nuke things down insanely quick, and you just cannot hold up to them. So, more Hosen. Merrily having a party. You can see the one that I'm fighting there has a little fairy wand. You can actually see some off in the top that are wearing magic hats. They're wearing the standard wizard hats. And what better way to celebrate a party than by running a keg into monkeys. Yes. Boom. Now, there is an achievement on this boss that's going to spawn in a sec once they actually are done messing around with these barrels. And the achievement is to run barrels into the boss. You need to run 20 of them in, which is fairly easy to achieve. You just need your DPS running on barrels and you have your healer and your tank doing their thing. But we merely have people running around on barrels and I try to tank what I can. These things don't hit very hard, you don't need to worry too much. Also, everything in beta for some reason currently has an elite image around it, even if it's not an elite. I'm not sure why this is. Just beta is beta. It'll probably get changed, so it's hard to tell if things are elite or if they are just, you know, groups of mobs that are able to be AoE'd. These things don't give us too much hassle. You can see the health bar's not really moving. Mine goes down a little, the rest kind of stay where they are. Now, once you have killed 40, and once this bar has filled up, the boss is going to merrily come running in, and you're going to see all of the monkeys start deserting the room. Don't worry, don't chase them. They merrily just leave. And here comes Ook Ook, the first boss. You're gonna ook you in the duka, which sounds rather perverse and dangerous. But we have our DPS trying to run barrels into him, but they give up really quick and they just go back to nuking him. So, Ook Ook doesn't really do anything too worrying. Standard first boss. He merrily... The barrels that he's like spawning and are rolling around, you need to watch out for. If they actually hit you, they'll deal damage. He also gains the buff Going Bananas. As you see, it stacks up on him. He gains attack damage. I mouse over it some point in this fight, I believe. Apart from that, he does a giant cone out in front of him. The ground pound, where you see him pounding his chest first, goes out in front. Just have people basically stand behind him. Standard boss practice. Don't stand in front of the monkey that's trying to cave your skull in, and you'll be fine. Of course, tank gets stunned during this, so just kind of stand there and eat it. You'll be fine. Healer doesn't really have any issue keeping me up during this. You can see there the Going Bananas buff is stacking up. It's on 3 now. There you go. Attack speed increased, damage increased. More barrels are coming. Our guys just give up on the barrels completely and just start avoiding them, which is a fair enough practice. They explode whenever they hit anything. This could be a wall, this could be mobs, pets, anything really. And down goes Ook Ook. And I say down, it doesn't really go down. And this is of course Pandaria loot. I hovered over it briefly, I apologise for that. I will say straight away though, however, that monks cannot roll on leather for need currently. They can greed it, but they can't need it. And these two monkeys run into each other and collide and explode. You see that our rogue winning it. This group was actually really nice. The group that I managed to get together to do the other instance wasn't that fantastic. Now, this trash, you see us skip there because I DC'd, and then everyone else DC'd, and we had to wait 10 minutes. So you can see everyone else is dead. Now, this trash would be the vermin, and I'm going to merely explain it while we're running up here. You have different kinds of vermin. You have the hoppers, and I believe it's the boppers, and the hoplings. The hoppers have dynamite in their mouths. When they hit something, they will knock them down and explode. And the boppers carry mallets on their back that once you actually go grab one, you can then Donkey Kong your way through the trash. You see that, everyone complaining about the DCs? I'm such a nice tank. Look at that. Not even being a dick and like having a go at people. But that may be because I DC'd as well. So, this door, you saw us run through it. This is the trash. See, the bopper there with the hammer on his back. You're going to see us do this trash, and then one of our guys DCs and ends up... He DCs, dies, and then ends up in a completely different area, unable to get back into the instance. So we actually cross-dissolve this trash, I believe. You see us get halfway through it, and then we cross-dissolve straight to the boss. Or cross-dissolve to running up to the boss, so you can see the path you take. This trash isn't too much issue. You see me dealing with some of it on my own. This is, though, a gauntlet. If you go through that door and you're stood out there fighting, trash will just constantly spawn. If you go through that door, you need to keep moving. The hammers are really the best way of doing this. Hammers are amazing. You can see me marking a skull there, but for no real purpose. Banan, the healer, has turned up. I'm dropping Army of the Dead, getting the boys out. I think you see a couple of our guys using the hammers, so you actually get to see those in effect. I just give up and stop tanking and activate Unholy Blight because it just spams numbers all over your screen. If you're a DK and you like seeing number spam, Unholy Blight is going to make you very happy. So the Beholder pet is back, the Warlock is back, I believe our Hunter is still dead. Yes, he is. Managed to get this down. There you go, you see Banan asking about the hammer, and I type out what it is quickly. Smash crits with it, get an achievement. Which is true, there is an achievement for, I believe, hitting 100 of them. Here you go, you see me using the hammer now, and bam! Knocking things back a mile with that hammer. It has limited charges though. And here you go, dropping Death and Decay, trying to get everything up. We move a little too slow, which is why one of the guys then dying and DCing causes us a problem. Also, I get slightly distracted by numbers. I'm going to admit, the number spam at the moment for me is rather ridiculous. So, you can see the Warlock Shadow Bolt volley spam going off upwards as well. So we tried to keep moving, and our Warlock is going to take one right to the face in a few moments. Just as we get through this door. This trash isn't too much to worry about. It can evade like that. it can evade a few times. This is due to the hammer knocking them in certain places, or the hammer just bugging them out. Hopefully, of course, this will be fixed. This is, of course, beta, as I've said now like 3 times. Now, what I'm doing here, this is how not to do it. Don't just stand here. Don't just do this. Keep moving. Everyone is taking damage. You see there, Banan reminding me that we actually need to move. However many mobs you get on you, it doesn't really matter. It's not a case of them doing significant damage. You can see they're not hurting me too bad. And the hammers from the boppers will do a lot of damage to them. However, guys then DC'd, so we decided to cut it because we had to wait here like 10-15 minutes. And why I cut this is we actually cleared to the boss with 4 guys while Kazot was DC'd. We managed to, once we'd cleared to the boss, everything here despawns. So we then managed to get up so that we could actually res him properly, because any time I tried to combat res him, he just DC'd on us again. A drunk rogue, because why not? Drunken rogues. See me explaining myself so that they don't think I'm a scrub. And he has been rezzed. And now we play the waiting game while he loads on his Commodore 64. Why? Because unfortunately, I didn't cut out this piece of footage. Just imagine elevator music playing at this time, or just have a sip of tea. He'll spawn in about 15-20 seconds. That is some good tea. Now, of course, companion pets in Pandaria now, for some reason, activate the pet bar, and this could be tied into the pet battle system because of the whole wild pet system that they've got, and there he is, Kazot has spawned now. However, some people are really irritated by the fact that the pet bar is now there when they've got a companion, like paladins were complaining about it to me, and I found it really odd as well. But it's kind of nice to be able to control my little pet and send them all over the different places. And yes, I believe I misspelled Commodore 64. It's Commodore 64, not Commodore 64. Before anyone complains about that in the comments, I already know. A rogue seems to be sobering up. And this is the next boss, Hoptalis. Hoptalis is a fairly easy boss if you know what you're doing and you actually spread out. The bar holder getting stuck in the doorway. Turn him around, move him back. You see Bloodlust pop there. Now, Hoptalis will do several things. He'll do Whirlwind, which you're about to see here, which is where, of course, he loses his aggro table and randomly just spins around. He also lets out a loud screech like so, and you're going to see vermin spawn. Now, here are the hoplings, and the boppers and the hoppers are also going to spawn. You see, I popped Unholy Blight too soon. However, I still managed to get most of them, if not all of them, I believe. We just managed to keep the ads under control. While this is going on, Hoptalis is spamming Carrot Breath, and this will go round in a full 360. And basically all you need to do is just move around and avoid it. It kind of hurts on normal. On heroic it will probably be rather brutal and a noob trap. So just make sure to avoid it. You see some of our guys dropping low on health because they keep getting hit by the bombs because they're noobs. But apart from this, Hoptalis is fairly easy. You can see me losing aggro there because I'm a scrub as well. It's my gear. Carrot Breath is about to start up again, but we kill him fairly quick. And that's him down. And there you go. I hover over this one for quite a while. Check that out. An int offhand. Stam in haste mastery. It is rather sexy. Blues are rather interesting in this game. Stopping from the instance for a second, just talking about the loot. I'm rather intrigued to see how the gear system works. I mean, these are blues at level 85. These aren't even 90s. And I know there's a lot of stuff data mined, but it will change between now and release. I don't normally check data mine stuff. I'll have a glimpse at it, but take it with a pinch of salt because, you know, it will change. So, checking over glyphs for someone on stream. Tranquil Grip now actually removes the taunt function from Death Grip, which is kind of interesting. So DPSs can take this and help them out. And now we're into the rather odd area of the instance, where beer has turned evil. Now, any Irish people watching this are probably going to be like, wait, what? No, beer, why? Evil? What? I believe I'm turning on, yes, I'm turning on the music. People on the stream were complaining that there's no music in this instance. That's because it ended. We were in here for over an hour because of DCs. This trash, for anyone that actually gets here, or anyone that does this instance, is basically learner trash for the final boss. He has pretty much their abilities and the trash that you're going to see after this. The bubble shield there that you can see them put up. For each bubble you kill, they will take an extra 10% damage, because for each bubble they currently have, they are reduced by 10% extra damage. So if you leave them up with their 8 bubbles, they'll have 8 stacks of buff on them that will reduce damage by 80%. So if you're a DPSer, kill the goddamn bubbles. This is something that I had to drill into our DPS when the boss fight was actually going on, because they just were not paying attention, and the fight took brutally long. We didn't wipe, it just took brutally long. See here, we managed to take them out. Bubbles are rather annoying, but AoE them down, apply dots on them, all of it works. They don't have much health. The elemental, or the ailmental, sorry, has more than the bubbles. I don't hover over any of them, and I don't have the text up on them. Why? Because beta client. I will make sure to do that for next time so you can see how much health these things actually have. And now, why not let's take a break for a second. Someone on the stream asked me if I could help out and show them the Warlock pets, because they thought the Beholder looked rather cool. So, I asked Kaz if he would be kind enough to sit there and go through his pets that he has very quickly for us. Bannon asking me about viewers, because he's actually streaming as well. I can't remember the name of his channel, but I will be kind enough to find it and drop it down in the description below. If you want to watch a shaman stream, then you can go from there. So, this is the new Succubus. I zoom in, and you can have a little closer look at this. This is the new Succubus model that you can get. You may remember this from places like, oh, I don't know, Black Temple, maybe? Quite possibly. And he's going to pull out the new Voidwalker, which may look familiar if you've ever been to Hellfire Peninsula. Or to be honest, anywhere in Outlands, to be honest, really. And what is next? I believe it's the Imp. Yes, the Imp that doesn't really look any different, just kind of bigger slightly. A big Imp. I mean, if you were a gnome, that Imp would probably be larger than you. So, I mean, it's larger than the Undead if you go from the top of the horns. And then he's back to the Observer. There you go. Those are the new Warlock pets. There is, of course, also the other one for the Felguard. However, he's not demo, so he can't show it. And this is, of course, the conversation that we go through. It's like, wait, isn't there a new one? The Infernal, as well, by the way, is orange now, I believe you can make it, instead of green. I'm not sure if this is... No, because that's me messing up. Because that's a Infernal. Aha. There you go. I've messed up. Mark that one down. I should have a little counter. But yes. He can't summon the demo one. So I thank him, and we get back to our instance. So there you go. Demo Warlock pet is running around and is OP. And you now have seen all the other ones. And this trash is quite possibly the crappiest trash in the entire expansion that I've encountered so far. Which would be 2 instances, by the way. However, I have a feeling that this trash will stay with me for a long time, and on Heroic will be dick. This carbonation debuff that you see them applying here, if you get it, you are pacified. And this will apply during the boss. The boss does carbonation as well. So if he hits you with carbonation, you randomly start, like, see, you're doused in beer, there's beer on the floor, and it's irritating as crap. If you get it, just basically stand there, do nothing, try to move away from other people, don't splash it around. We move through this trash fairly quickly. Although irritatingly, may I just say. This has got to be the trash that I complained the most about on stream. All of the numbers on the bubbles. Why? Because I love my AoE. You can see the XP bar not moving as well. I'm going to quickly touch on this one. The XP bar isn't really moving much, and that's because it takes 10 million XP to get from 85 to 86. And we can see mobs giving 13k each. This, I believe, I could be wrong on this one, but I believe is currently because you cannot quest from 85 upwards at the moment. You only have these 2 instances, and I believe it's a case that they just want us to test these instances a little, whereas if we were getting decent amounts of XP from them, we would end up out-leveling the instances fairly quick. You see me quickly typing out the tactics for the boss for these guys, and also explaining that he doesn't drop any loot. And of course, the big main key thing, kill the bubbles. He's a big version of the mobs we just fought. Look at that, it's as if I'm psychic. It's as if I know what I'm going to type before it appears. And yes, people will complain about the Warlock pets wherever they go. They are huge. Even some Warlocks don't like them. They're just so large, they just take up too much of the screen, they block your view, they are just irritating. I'm sure some people love them because they are so bloody big. But most people that actually have a brain can't stand the buggers. So, here we go. Yanzu the Uncast. This fight is rather simple in some ways. Just watch out for a certain... well, you'll see it. I'll explain it when it gets there. So the first thing he will do is Blackout Brew. If you get hit by Blackout Brew, you fall asleep. You can see him spamming it there. I get hit by it in a second, and you'll see me actually get knocked out by it, I believe. I'm not sure when it happens, but you'll see my screen go black, and I will start just not being able to do anything. Now, the bubbles are up. We have our ranged guys take out these bubbles. However, you will see that other bubbles will spawn... There's the Blackout Brew. Other bubbles will spawn around the edge that melee can actually get into and jump up. Also, melee. Sorry, Float, before you watch this and kill me. There are the bubbles that the melee can get into, and if they get into them, then you can actually hover up off the ground. And this is what you do with Carbonize. Ranged guys as well, when Carbonize hits the floor, or Carbonation rather, should get into a bubble and hover up. If you're off the ground, then it goes away, and you're free to keep DPSing and healing. That's basically all the mechanics there are. He's going to put the bubble shield up now, which you saw earlier, and it's just really simple. Just DPS down the bubbles, then go back on the boss. When Carbonation hits, get a bubble, get off the ground. That's it. Rinse, wash, repeat. Unfortunately, our DPS is really slow at killing those bubbles to start with. As you can see here. He is not going down very fast at all. And there I'm blacked out again. I love the effect for Blackout Brew. The fact that it like darkens the screen. Here comes Carbonation, you can see the bubbles spawn. As soon as he starts casting Carbonation, you can start heading to the bubble and go grab one and jump in it. You don't really need to wait until he finishes casting it, just jump in it straight away. He doesn't hit very hard. As you can see, he's not hitting me that hard. And the fight is fairly simple. It's prolonged depending on how smart your DPS is. This is the big key factor in this fight. If your DPS are dumb and melee, then you're going to be here forever. The boss doesn't do enough damage really to cause any case of mana issues. You can see Banan's mana is on full here. Nothing bad is going to happen to the tank or the healer. You're just going to be stuck in a fight for infinity. if you do not have decent DPS that can actually work out how to kill bubbles. If you're a tank, don't worry, by the way, when you get blacked out, he changes targets. Why? Because, well, after you're blacked out, he then carbonates. It's a fairly simple, common process. Unfortunately, he did kill the hunter's pet. So there you go. That's basically it. He's not going to drop any loot. Nothing interesting is going to happen between now and death. You've seen all of the mechanics. It's just a case of rinse, wash, repeat. The fact that you're fighting evil beer is kind of a bit odd, but hey, not going to complain. So, that is all of the footage that I have for today from Mists of Pandaria. That is, of course, also all there currently is really in beta, apart from the monk starting area, which I've not got much footage of. I recorded a few little things, but not the entire thing. The elemental textures, models that are in the starting area are rather cute and rather awesome, and did make me daw a few times. However, I'm not a member of the Yogscast, so I'm not going to make random noises that are weird. That's all I can say, really. There will be more content, of course, when more stuff goes on. However, this is the first wave of beta. There isn't much to do. I've shown you what I can. If you have a request, if you want me to show you anything, if you have any queries, questions, or comments, leave them down in the section below. If you want to see more content, of course, hit the subscribe button, or just follow me on Twitter. That works as well. Now I'm going to sit here. I'm going to have another sip of my tea while I wait for me and the other guys to actually finally kill this boss. Our DPS is atrocious. I'm pretty sure if I was to take my dick out and slap the boss with it, I would be doing higher DPS. Actually, what I should do is take my dick out and slap the bubbles. Then I would be doing higher DPS. See, even the healer is getting bored by this point. The other instance, before we actually end this, it's coming to a conclusion now. The other instance, I have already done, I have footage of it. I would like to get a cleaner run of it, because one of the bosses there has a rather interesting fight. However, we really overcomplicated it. If you want to see us overcomplicate it and just do this fight, it's one of the worst rogues I've ever seen, by the way. Drop me a message below and I'll consider putting up that footage, because the instance isn't that bad. It's a lot more unpolished than this one. However, that fight is very fun, apart from the fact that our rogue makes it absolutely so much harder than it should be. And finally, Yanzu falls over. There you go. Everyone has now received their achievement. You know who I am. You know what this is. I will see you for the next video. Peace.